All right. All right. Hey, everyone. It is Monday, May 10th. I am Dee Corchin. I am thrilled to be with you guys here tonight for our Monday night team time. And if you guys are new to our team or one of your first calls with us, just know that we come together every Monday night for us, just to be able to learn and grow together. And we like to start off with a few minutes of inspiration as everybody is logging in. And I've been reading a really good book that a friend of mine gave me. And there was just a little bit that he touched on about the role of a coach that I wanted to share with you. And I'll also put this when I post the recording, I will share this in there. But he says, whenever I speak to coaches, I warn them about one scenario. You're going to be tempted to judge yourself as a coach by how well your participants perform. That's a mistake, and it leads to a bad place. Your participants' success or failures are their own. You cannot take credit for their successes, and you cannot take blame for their failures. Your job is to coach them well by faithfully following the coaching program. Otherwise, you'll end up crossing a line that a coach should never cross. You'll find yourself in a place where you want it for them more than they want for themselves. Then you can make your first mistake. You will do something for them that they should be doing for themselves. You will think you're helping them, but it is a lie, and you know it. Your job is to empower those you coach. When you do that for them, when you do for them what they should be doing for themselves, you create an entitlement and dependency rather than empowerment. It is incredibly frustrating when you see amazing possibilities for the people you are coaching and you want it more for them than they want it for themselves, but don't give in to that frustration. Pretty clear definition of hero coaching. And we're going to talk in a few minutes about just some of the shipping delays. And I know we've all wanted to get in our cars and race and drive fuel lanes to people and ship them to people and all of that. But I see Beth Campbell says that hit home. It really hit home for me as well. So it is good to see you guys. Remember, we love to share out on social media. So if you want to share do a screenshot, share on Instagram or whatever, let you love your Monday night team time. It really just builds our community, and especially our coaching community, even stronger. So before we jump into the couple of things, we've got actually some really key topics to cover tonight. I want to remind you, we started the Summer Slim Down Challenge, and the last I looked, and it was this afternoon, it could be more, we were up to over 460 participants in the Summer Slim Down Challenge. So that is really an amazing opportunity for us as our coaches to really connect, just bond even more with your clients during this journey. So we have a spreadsheet, just make sure you know who's participating and set up those times with them. And we've got some really great posts scheduled. We're going to do more Facebook Lives in the group. So I think it's going to be an incredible journey with them. And then, are you registered for the All In Coaching Summit this Saturday, May 15th? All right. I think it's up to about 4,500, but we expect by the time of the event, we'll have over 8,000 people registered in this past week. So if you haven't registered yet, it's a virtual event this Saturday, the 15th, with training for every level coach, no matter where you are in the business. It's only $47 to register. Once you're registered, you'll have access to all the recordings. And to register yourself, you're going to go to the allincoachingsummit.com. So we're going to start tonight. We started last week. We started talking about the habits of transformational leadership. And these are the leadership principles that were established when Optavia was branded back in 2018. And so last week, Lisa Bloom shared with us about we lead from the future, we act in the now. Gina shared with us about how we transform masterfully, and the feedback I got, wasn't that great, you guys? Did you enjoy what they shared and understanding these principles better? So tonight I'm going to turn it over to Connie Queen, and Connie is going to speak on the principle of we take responsibility and we play above the line. So Connie, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it from here.
Thank you, Dee. Our second transformational habit of leadership, we take responsibility and we play above the line, has taught me that I always have the power of choice. I have the ability with Optavia to shape my destiny, to create a life with a larger sphere of influence and create greater financial freedom in my Optavia business. But I've not always felt that way. After a 25-year career in corporate America and meeting the man of my dreams and love of my life, that would be the famous and marvelous Piero, who's already on here, I was still unhappy. I was trained and certified as a life coach, but I was still struggling to grow a sustainable business with a set of old beliefs and old ideas that kept me stuck. I lived below the line, looking for validation and approval, perceived safety and security, spending multiples of thousands of dollars on the next get-rich program, while continuing to blame others for the lack of my results. And in June of 2020, I was at a really low point. I was at the highest weight and worst shape ever. Emotionally, I had resigned myself to accept that if this was the best that it was going to get, and I had a really good life, I better just be grateful, right? And that attitude, with that kind of, sarcastic attitude, I was really, truly miserable. I had given up on my dreams, thinking that life was too hard, that it was too difficult, that I was too old, and I'd probably just die before they happened anyway. So you know what? I quit. But obviously God had other plans. That's when Zena's post on Facebook showed up holding her little sign that said, I lost 60 pounds and I kept it off for 3 years. That was 11 months ago. And I said yes to Optavia. And 1 week later, I decided to pay it forward, and I have not looked back. In Optavia, through our generous apprentice style training, I have been shown that there is a very fine line between living an ordinary life and an extraordinary life. Below the line are excuses, blame, helplessness, but above the line, there is looking at the current reality, taking ownership, and following that with consistent action. And as I go through my day, I don't know about you, but life tends to get a little lifey. And there's two things that automatically occur. There's facts and there's interpretations. In the facts, a frustrated client may call about out of stock feelings and slow delivery. And then there's the interpretation of what happens in my mind that goes, gosh darn, if only and when Optavia would get their act together, I wouldn't have to be bothered by these inconveniences. I would have more time to get new clients, hit my next rank, and make more money. All about me, me, me. But this type of thinking lands me slap dab and below the line with life happening to me. So instead of reacting to my emotions and living in that all or nothing type of thinking and going down the rabbit hole with them, how do I play above the line? First of all, I become aware that my thinking and my reactions have taken me below the line. And then after I recognize that, I have the ability to choose a different thought and a different action. And my action is that I ask myself this question: what do I really want to have happen here? Do I want to continue to focus all of my time on energy of what I don't want in life, having to deal with unhappy clients? Or do I shift my perception to what I do want to create? Who is it that I want to be? I desire to serve and to be an example how to move through adversity and difficulties feeling empowered. And so how do I go about doing this? I focus on why I decided to become a coach in the first place and keep it utmost in my mind. I pause. I rise above the line. The difference between a reaction and a response is that moment of pause where I make a conscious choice to take consistent actions to be my best self. And then I lead with my own health. And to wrap up all of this with a few thoughts about taking responsibility and playing above the line, I'd encourage you to continue to embrace the obstacles as the way. Keep going no matter what, even when you want to start pumping the fear brakes. Practice compassion, loving compassion for yourself, even through the difficulties. And instead of being critical and hard on yourself, you know what? My spiritual guide reminds me all the time when I call her to put the hammer down and pick up the feather and be gentle to myself. It is impossible for me to live in criticism of myself and others and still create the life that I desire at the same time. Acknowledge the small efforts that you take every day in your business. Over time, no matter how small they are every day, they begin to have significant impact. It's all a part of the journey. And continue to be inspired and celebrate the success of the others. Go into our Facebook group, show up on our team celebration calls, and set up those tip and celebration calls with your clients, with your mentorship to celebrate them. You know what? And at least weekly, if not more so, check in with your coach regarding your own health and your business goals, and then continue to provide support and nurture others. You know what? I suit up and I show up every day, and I recognize that no matter what happens, I am more than enough for the job I've been called to do. Nothing's broken or wrong or needs to be fixed. And you know what? I don't have all the answers like what Dee was reading about before. You know, they are not going to award me a badge of honor for being a hero coach. And I no longer listen. You know, I do listen. I'm sorry. I listen, right? And no longer seek to be right or try to convince others to see my point of view. And I trust that everybody and everything, including myself, is happening exactly the right and time sequence as it's supposed to be for my learning and in my growth. I encourage you to lean into your mentorship, make use of these trainings, and show up on our team time with your camera on. Learn from all of these experiences from the ones who have gone before us, because people are our most valuable asset in Optavia. Together as coaches, we have the ability to transform the world where people live above the line, where they stay curious about what's possible. They dream even bigger dreams. See the universe behind me? That's what's possible. And then we have fun and we play and we move forward with vital, vibrant lives. I wake up every day and I thank God for Optavia and for the life that I've been given. And tonight, I am so grateful for the opportunity to have had this time to share about these habits with you. Thank you.
Woo, let's give it up for Connie. Man, you've got to go back, Connie, and look at these comments that were coming in. I mean, somebody's like, can you start a podcast? Like, such a good share. And I mean, I think I have learned the most through Optavia. You know, I always joke that Optavia is really a personal development program, and you'll happen to lose some weight and get healthy at the same time, because it really changes us as individuals. And these kind of principles, like living above the line, I mean, you're going to find yourself showing up differently, you know, when things don't go your way in other areas of life. And it really is powerful. And that line you shared, I had heard that recently where it said the brain, it's impossible for the brain to be critical and creative at the same time. So I don't know if you heard Connie say that, but you know, when we go down that rabbit hole, and let's just face it, we're going to talk in a minute about the shipping and the processing delays. When we jump in the rabbit hole and we jump in the well with our clients, it is impossible to be creative in solutions and remember our mission and what we're truly doing. I just encourage you to stay focused on that. Watch the replay of what she talked about, because that was pure gold. Pure gold. So put a 1 in the comments if you or a client have been affected by processing and shipping delays. There we go. Yeah, like all of us. And what an opportunity to stay above the line, right? And the one thing, I mean, I think to really remember is it's no joke. I mean, it is something that we're all navigating and struggling through together. And I think the most important thing as you're helping your clients navigate this is to really take the opportunity to validate them, to listen, to let them vent a little bit if they need to. And actually listen. And when I say listen for what they're really saying. You know, they might be giving you indications of fear of other things, or fear of gaining their weight back, or fear, you know, things that we can then be in a position to then say, hey, I get it. Like, this is super hard. Can I offer a few ideas? but I think it's so important for our clients, for them to realize that we are rooting for them, that we are in this with them, and we're going to work through it together with them and be able to offer them, alternative solutions, if they haven't received their order yet. And they're so excited to get started, what can we do? I want to turn it over just for a minute because I know, Shauna, you were corresponding with coach support today and got a little bit of additional information. So if you could just share for a second.
Okay, thank you. I did. I called today and I talked to Melanie from corporate, and she sent me an email, and I just want to hit a couple of things that she said. They are opening a new warehouse in Maryland. Yay. So they've started, and until that's open though, they've started filling smaller, more easier orders to fill. So some of you I've seen on the thing have talked about orders shipping that were placed after other orders. They were probably smaller, easier orders to fill. So they're doing their best to get everything out as soon as they can. She doesn't have a solid date yet on how long the shipping delays will last, but she's hoping that once the new warehouse gets up and starts filling orders at full speed, that they'll get caught up pretty quickly. And what she sees today, when she looks back at what orders are being filled, she's seeing orders from somewhere around the 22nd or the 23rd of April being filled today. And those are probably those larger orders that they're trying to get out. So they're doing everything they can. And we're hearing it with all of you. And Dee, if you don't mind, if I just add one thing, I'm trying to get my clients to think outside the box and, make shake cakes, make mashed potato waffles. There are things that they can do to make their fuelings portable. So if you can help them to identify some of that, that will help them a lot to know, when they're out of bars, they always have options.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for that. And information is changing daily. So like today, they might be working on the 22nd, 23rd, that could go fast, and then they could be working on the 27th before you know it. We just don't know. So be really careful with what you share with clients on that, because it's always a moving target. But here's the couple things I know that we know for a fact. I know as humans, we tend to want to avoid conflict, right? Like we really don't want to get into it with a client. We really are afraid of what their reaction might be. We're afraid they might cancel. We're afraid of a lot of things. But the reality is, the more proactive we can be and the more in communication we can be with our clients, the less disruptive it's going to be for them. So I know that a lot of us were being proactive and like forwarding the 7-day notice and saying, hey, you might want to go ahead and do this now so you can have at least 14 days. I was talking with my coach today, and we were talking about the fact that it would probably be a good idea really to call all of our clients. Just go down your list and call all of your clients and just say, hey, here's reality. Orders are taking 2 to 3 weeks to come in. And I don't want to be in a situation where you don't have your order. So let's talk about when you placed your last one, when do we need to do the next one, and really come together in partnership with your clients, because I think our clients that get broadsided, they place their order like they normally do, and then they're broadsided. We're seeing so many posts coming into the group that it's very obvious they're unaware of what's going on. We're trying to screen them. Everything's pre-approved now. We're trying to screen them and consolidate them so that every post is like not about this. But the reality is I see a lot of evidence that our clients are not that informed. So I think the more that we can be proactive, and again, we might be apprehensive about it, but I think if our clients realize we're coming in partnership with them, and even though it seems weird that maybe you haven't gotten your order yet and you're getting your shipping notice or your 7-day notice about the next one, reality is in today's world, it's probably time to order again, even though it doesn't seem to make sense, because we don't want them to get their order and then have the same thing happen next month. And with new clients too, I would just really encourage, just be really, really honest with them that, it's taking 2 to 3 weeks. And then, we can give them some ideas. I did a post in our group, I think it was last week, about some ideas of what they can do while they're waiting for their orders. So, any questions around that? We don't, the thing about the warehouse, these things take time to get up and running. You realize that we're not dealing with anything that the rest of the food industry isn't dealing with, and manufacturing is not dealing with, and shipping companies aren't dealing with. I mean, the demand is insane. And right now the current environment is extremely hard to find staffing. It is extremely hard to find individuals to work in these positions. You know, and you're seeing this in restaurants, you're seeing this, it's not specific to Optavia, but trucking companies are having a hard time positioning, warehouses, all of that. So just realize this is like just kind of a perfect storm. It's not unique to Optavia. So the thing about the warehouse and when did it open? I mean, we couldn't give clear dates because of the fact that they are working on all the staffing issues and all of that. We knew that was all behind it as well. So, so thank you for that. Does that help a little bit, provide a little more direction and clarity around it? Okay.
What about when people haven't started yet and they want to do their second, what about second orders if they haven't gotten their first box?
Well, I mean, we've had orders, Julie. I mean, I hate to say it, but they're running 17 and 18 days right now. And that's like not including the weekends. You know, so we're getting up to almost the 3-week mark. So I'm almost thinking they're going to need to place that second order. You know, if their card has been charged or whatever, we do know that the spacing has been there between their charges. It's going to seem weird to them. But I think the only thing we can say is, you know, they're going to need to place it probably within a week or so of it, that notice, just so we don't get into this. Because I don't see an immediate short-term answer, you know, solution to everything. Good question. We're going to change gears. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. They're in the chat. People are asking about when people's cards get charged, when the order is placed or when it's shipped. Do you have any further clarification on that?
I don't. If anybody has an answer on that, we did see a couple of times when charges were dropped. You know, it was on a pending charge for people and then it was dropped. But that would be a good question. I can do a little research on tomorrow to find.
I think that's mostly when it's a debit card and they'll only hold those reserves for so long and then they drop off. So it's a difference between debit and credit.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Can I ask a quick question, Stacy?
Sure.
Here. So the other issue that we're starting to see, I think, is also quality of packaging and shipping. So I don't know if you have any input on that, but I've had a couple of startup clients that their 5 free fuelings are there, but none of their starter stuff. So their Optavia guide's not there, their kickoff journey card's not there, all that kind of thing. And then obviously the taping. So a lot of boxes are arriving opened. I know I just got mine with no packing slip. So just curious kind of if that's kind of being discussed as well.
It is. I just saw a discussion of this and some of these concerns being raised in our leadership Facebook group. And I will say, if you have a client, have them take a picture of it. You know, if something is really like out of sorts or crazy, take a picture of it and call client support. See if you can, you know, get that Optavia guide shipped to them or whatever it is. But they are aware of it, and it's like see item 1 when I talked about staffing and finding the people to work in the warehouses, you know, so you realize it's just, you know, it's a training issue and all of that, but yeah, we're aware of it, but thank you for bringing it up. Okay. The next thing I wanted to change gears a little bit on with us is just to make you aware of some shifts in disclaimer information, some additions to when do we need to put disclaimers on what we're sharing with individuals, whether it's around like the weight loss piece of it, and or we're going to talk about a new requirement around income or lifestyle claims. The one thing I want to tell you is, you know, Optavia, we are in an incredible position right now as the second fastest growing company in the United States. You know, not the fastest, you know, direct sales company or the fastest growing weight loss, but we're in the, you know what I mean? Like we're in the spotlight. There's a lot happening, and we have an incredible opportunity, right? We know there are millions of people that need to get healthy, whatever, and we need to do everything. And our company is doing everything that they can to protect our integrity, protect our reputation, and making sure that we would never be in question for anything. So we've always had the requirements regarding putting the disclaimer on your before and after pictures, you know, so, you know, when you do a before and after picture that we have appropriate disclaimers with it. We also have very specific guidelines on what we can share and not share. Like we can claim weight loss, but we can't say my blood sugar, you know, I came off blood sugar, you know, blood pressure medication or whatever, because we have not been clinically studied for that to prove that that is a side effect. So the one thing I will know, and I have been guilty of it, is we know sometimes we don't want to put that disclaimer really visible right? Because we're like, oh, we don't want to see optimal 5-1, and then they're going to look it up, and then they're not going to want to call me. But it is imperative that we have the disclaimers on there. Okay, so as coaches, I want you to make sure that you're doing that. It's just to protect your own business. But if you would keep an eye out with your new coaches too, and your coaches, make sure that it's there and it's visible. That's the other thing, is that they're really looking for now is that we are making them visible, that we're not using the, font you can't see or hiding it in a place that it can't be seen. So that is very, very important. All right. The other thing now is that there are new guidelines in terms of what you're putting out there, and any of us are putting out there, in terms of the income that we earn, the lifestyle that we now have because of Optavia, the vacation we went on, things like that. If we're now saying things in our life that are related to coaching and Optavia, we have to put an income disclosure statement on it, as well as within this statement, there's a live link that goes to the income disclosure statement for 2021. And so this is going to be real important. And the company, what happens is that the company is protecting us. Absolutely nothing has happened. They are protecting us. But what they have to be prepared for is that in the event that the FTC comes and says, what are you doing right now? What are you doing to make sure that your coaches are making accurate claims? They have a still clear policy, and they also have a clear disciplinary policy as well to it. And there are fines involved as well. So individual fines to individual businesses, et cetera, and, individual coaches, et cetera, that are relative to your rank in the business. So it is imperative that we adopt this, and that we are all, you know what I mean? We talk about what Connie talked about, and being above the line, that we're all doing it for the protection of our own businesses, as well as the protection of the company. So I just wanted to share with you, now there is going to be a link that I will share, and I'll put it in when I do the replay of this, that we have a link with all the documents and the guidelines, and the link to the actual disclaimers that you will add. But the couple of situations I'm just going to show you quickly that we will, it's important that we report on, is any specific earnings claims. So if you want to say, like, I replaced my teacher's salary and made $45,000 last year, or I'm the youngest person to earn $1 million in commissions. That's pretty exciting. I hope that's on our team. But it can also be general vague claims. And this would be something like, there's no limit to your personal or financial potential. I retired from corporate America. I've been guilty. We've talked about that with Larry, financial freedom. Time freedom is a big one that is looked at. Healthy finances. Exchange the traditional 9-to-5 for your own schedule. Be your own boss. I don't think any of us would do it. Photos of money. But if you had any references to mansions, a new car that you bought, boats, yachts, vacations, trips, vacation homes, anything of that nature, we would want that income disclosure to be on. And they want us to say, like, there's two different situations with it, a couple of things. Only to be talking about your own personal circumstances. And even if you're verbally talking to somebody, let them know, like, hey, this is my personal experience. This is what I've been able to achieve with it. And for example, like in a situation like myself and Larry, reaching IPD, which is one of the highest ranks, it's unusual to reach that. And so really there's a disclaimer that we would use that say it's unusual to reach this, but it's possible. And we've actually done it. And we talked about this on our leadership call. And so there's actually, like I said, I'll have the link to this. I know we're running short on time, but there are some disclaimers here with when it's a typical income and an atypical. But we talked about this, and here is the link. It's in Coach Answers, you guys, and I'll put this link in there that you can go to. But we talked about it in the leadership call, and it was Doug Wood shared, and we were with the compliance officers, and he shared, like, how cool is it going to be when we're all totally upfront about everything, having our disclaimers, and we're saying, it's not possible, but look how many it's not typical, but look how many of us are doing it. right? Like it's going to be pretty amazing that it's going to be undeniable that not only physical changes are possible through Optavia, but also incredible lifestyle and, income changes. So any questions on that? We've got like a minute or two. Anybody want to pop on with a question about it?
Do we need to spend time going back and editing all of our prior posts?
Great. I'm so glad you mentioned that, Lauren. Yes, it has been asked that we go back and look at anything that you've done before. Either delete it. If you don't want to add the disclaimer, just delete the post. If it's been a long time ago, probably maybe nobody would even notice it, but go ahead and add that disclaimer in to it. So yeah, they did ask us to go back and do that.
So it's Carol Quintero.
Hi, Carol.
Hi. So if we're on vacation and we're showing our vacation, but we're not saying, hey, look what I can do because of Optavia, do we still need to do the income disclosure?
That's been a little bit fuzzy. They're telling us yes. And the question was also asked like, hey, what if I don't brand under Optavia? What if I don't, which a lot of us don't, right? We just put D Corchin, whatever. But they basically said if somebody Googled our names, it's probably pretty possible that there's going to be some connection to Optavia. Like if it can be traced in any way that you're with Optavia, they're saying when in doubt, use the disclaimer is basically what they're saying. There have been questions specifically about that, Carol. If I'm not saying, hey, thank you, Optavia, that I got to go on this river cruise. Do we have to say it? They were kind of indicated that we do, but I will continue to ask questions and watch what other people are doing around that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you to Connie. This was a full evening of information. So thank you. And thank you to Shauna for sharing it with us about the shipping. I encourage you to hop over to Dr. A's call, also be on the field training tonight at 8:30. All the links are in Coaches Opt for Change. And then also Dan Bell has a call, which will have an opportunity to ask questions like this as well. So thank you guys for being on. Thanks for the birthday wishes, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.